Next, we're going to talk to John Wright from the Richmond, Kentucky area. We're happy that John has been with us for about 15 years. Now, John, you were a very successful businessman before joining H&H. Can you tell us what you were involved in previous to joining us, and what made you decide to come aboard with H&H?
Well, this is actually my third profession. My second profession, my wife and I built a retail sales business, which turned out to be very good for us. And basically, was going to retire. We sold it, sold the business. Was going to retire when I was 57, and I was stricken with cancer at that time. I went through a very serious bout for about a year and a half. And as I was getting better, I told my wife that I had to do something in life. I couldn't stay home. I could not retire. And I happened to be directed towards H&H Industries and visited with them, and they were I was very fortunate for them to offer me a job. I was very weak coming out of my cancer, and I was only able to work a couple hours a day, and they worked with me on every bit of that, and it's just turned out to be a great marriage.
Well, very good. Now, what do you enjoy about working for H&H Industries?
I tell you, H&H Industries, the Harrington family, to me, are just fantastic. They bet on me when things were tough and worked with me. When you come to work for H&H, you actually become part of the Harrington family. They hurt when you hurt, and they're happy when you're happy. And it's just a great family and great people to work with.
Well, good. We're glad you came along too. Now, is there a particular market that you had success with H&H in your sales history with us?
Yes, I started out, and I had to do something to get my sales built up where I could have immediate income coming in. And I started into the restaurant business, and that turned out to just be just really an area that I got into and really cut my teeth. And since then, I have moved on into larger businesses, factories, and stuff like that.
Well, good. I remember the sales coming in on your restaurant business every Monday of the month. You had a real big day with the sales in the restaurant business. We certainly did appreciate you doing that. Now, John, let's say that I was a GM for a restaurant. How would you approach me in trying to sell me lights from H&H Industries?
Well, I would go in first after lunch, around 2 o'clock. I'd ask for the general manager, not the managers. Every restaurant's got 5 or 6 managers. They cannot make the decisions. It's the GM that does. And I would just introduce myself to him, tell him who I was, and tell him the type of light that I sold. I sold full spectrum lighting. Lighting fantastic for kitchens. It gave perfect color matching. And if all possible, I would go in and demonstrate, put some lights in a couple fixtures, and I'd do it normally over their workstation and tell them to work under it for 2-3 days, and I'd be back to see them. And once you put the lights in over a workstation, they can see just a complete difference in what they're preparing, what they're making, and it's hard to take those lights back out. So after I got their light business all through the kitchens, then I moved slowly through the rest of the restaurants until I had 100% of their lighting business. I called on them once a month, different group every week. I'd do it on Monday. That would give me enough sales to get me started where I could really relax a little bit and work on larger accounts throughout the week. It worked fantastic for me.
Well, good. We certainly do appreciate that also. Now, you didn't just stick with the restaurant business. What is the magnitude of some of the other projects that you've done with H&H Industries?
Well, I've done some very large factories, factories with several thousand people, totally relighting them, taking their overhead middle halides out and replacing them with energy-saving lights. Probably the biggest one I did was probably around $325,000. But I have several factories that I do business with and repeat business, and that's the beauty about selling lights. You get repeat business. After about every 3 or 4 years, you're reselling your customers again, the ones that you've already had.
Well, very good. Now, if you were to give some advice to someone who was thinking about coming to work with H&H Industries, what would you tell them?
Well, I tell them they have to be able to meet people. They cannot be bashful. They got to be able to go out, introduce themselves, meet people, and be proud of their company, and be proud of the product that they're selling, and everything else falls in place.
Well, very good. Now, John, if we could just take you and clone you, we would have much, much success, you and some of our top guys that work for H&H Industries. We certainly do appreciate the fact that you recovered from your illness, and you've been a mainstay with H&H Industries for the last 15 years. And thank you again for your hard work.
Thank you.